I'm honored to be here today. I really appreciate Chuck and Bonnie organizing this event, and having done this, quite honestly, for many, many years. I've been to several of these Sunday afternoon events over the years. I appreciate you guys being interested. We have never been at a more critical time in a gubernatorial election or just a cycle in Georgia, I believe, than we are in right now. There are stark contrasts, and I'll talk a little bit about that. I also just want to mention, besides Chuck and Bonnie, a lot of other people in the room that have been friends to me over the years, advisors as well. I know everyone knows Jeff Kunkus. If you do not, he'll be blurting something out soon so everybody will recognize where he is. But I appreciate Jeff's friendship. We have lunch every so often. Him and Chuck both have had me to the Friday lunch group a couple of times. Somebody told me you cannot get elected governor if you haven't been to the Friday lunch groups. I've done that twice, and hopefully I can do it again. One of Jeff's children, Craig Kunkus, has been a great friend and supporter of mine. Also a great lawyer that has been working on a lot of interesting stuff that we deal with, and I just appreciate Craig. Dan Israel, who texted me on the way over here and said he was taking his kids to something this afternoon and couldn't be here, but Dan's been a great friend of mine, kind of a mentor, if you will, on policy-related issues. He and I took a trip to San Francisco into the Silicon Valley several years ago. Dan's been involved in a lot of technology businesses, so he has been helping me over the years learn about that, develop that policy, see what's really going on, see what we need to do here in Georgia. And going on that trip, I learned something. I had very different thoughts before I went out there, and I had very different thoughts when I came back. I learned that we don't need to try to reinvent the wheel. We're already doing it in Georgia. If you think about Atlanta, Alpharetta, Columbus, and Augusta, when in regards to technology, whether it's financial technology, healthcare, IT, cybersecurity, and I believe we can add agriculture technology, much like Israel has done to boost the Georgia economy and help our farmers and our agribusiness people. But people in California, they are already investing here. They have been for years. There's plenty of money out there. We just need to continue to be a state that's going to continue to grow that. The former commissioner of the Department of Economic Development certainly understands that. And I will be a governor that will promote that, because no one knows it better than I do, that we need to do it because we've done so much technology-wise in the Secretary of State's office. And that's something I'll be talking a lot about in the fall campaign. But I appreciate, Dan really helping me with that. He also made remarks this past Wednesday when we rolled out our diversity coalition, which was very important. It's going to be a very important part of our fall campaign, that us as Republicans show that we can lead on these type issues, that we have the best and the brightest people that are going to have the best ideas, and already have them, quite honestly, that have driven this economy over the last 8 years, and who governed in a very tough time the 8 years before that. And I think that is one of the big questions is, why do you want to go in a different path? Why do you want to go from having a small, efficient government that has us the best state in the country to do business in, and go to a big government model that will cause you to raise taxes and will no doubt lower that business ranking? That is not the direction that I want to go, and I don't believe anyone up here wants to go that way as well. Also, lastly, I just want to mention Sally Levine real quick in the Holocaust Commission. I've had the honor over the last, I guess it's been almost 8.5 years, or maybe a little over 8.5 years of working with the Holocaust Commission and the Secretary of State's office, and the great work that they do in promoting every issue, all the time in a dedicated way. And I just appreciate Sally and the board. I'm not going to be real long-winded. You all know me. When you're running for governor, there's been several events where I've talked about policy, talking about Georgia, talking about Israel. People know that I am a small, besides being a husband and a father to 3 teenage daughters, which gives me as much life experience as anybody else in Georgia, except for possibly a grandparent. I'm experiencing those issues every day. Amy Porter drove me she's 15. She drove me to my office today where I could sign a few checks and drop off some stuff that we need to get done this week that I'm usually have to do on Saturdays and Sundays when I get home. So I'm going through the experience for a third time of a 15-year-old driver. That's all I'll say about that. But she's doing great. But look, that's what we've got to let people know, that we've got a ticket here that has real life experiences in business, in government, and just with our families. And a big part of this race is also, and I've said this many times as well, this is going to literally be a fight for the soul of our state. And thankfully, you all and other Georgians decide who the governor's going to be. And the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, and all the other folks on our great ticket. And I'm honored to be at the top of that. But it's not the people in California that are flooding this race with money. It's not the people from New York. It's not the people that Stacey Abrams was with recently in Martha's Vineyard and who she'll be with in Washington, D.C. next month. It is us, the voters of the state of Georgia. And I'm speaking to the choir up here in the 6th District because you all know, as Karen Handel knows, who, by the way, is doing a great job as our congresswoman, and we need to keep her up there fighting as well. But you have seen the flow of outside money, and you've also seen it doesn't matter how much they got, as we say out in the country, it ain't going to be enough because we are going to raise the money that we need to, and we're going to work just as hard as they are. I had a great visit with David and Sonny Perdue yesterday down in Perry before the fish fry. And I've told many people that we have got to have the attitude, the commitment, and the dedication as we move into the fall campaign that we all had back in 2002. If you think about where you were, what you were doing in 2002, and think about what the environment was like, people were saying there's no way that Sonny Perdue could beat Roy Barnes. Did you all believe that? There was a lot of Georgians that didn't. I know I was campaigning in a similar situation down in Athens against a liberal Democrat in a district that nobody thought I was going to win. Of course, I was too dumb at the time to know anything about politics, so I just thought I could win in that district. It was a 56% Roy Barnes district. But I worked hard. The people on the ground worked hard, and we got the vote out. And we're in a tough situation right now because we've been in control for 16 years. And as I was talking to Lynn Riley earlier, we got a great story to tell, and there is no question about that, and we're going to do that. But we also cannot get complacent and just think that everybody believes that story when they're hearing this other message that's out there. Because it sounds great to have universal health care, and that's what Stacey Abrams wants to do. But she's not saying how much it's going to cost. And she is saying that she's going to have to take your tax dollars to do that when she says that we need to do away with the Trump tax cut, the new internet taxes that are going to be coming in. Instead of giving that back to you like I want to do, she wants to take it and use it for something else. So just know this, as governor, I'm going to continue to carry the legacy of Sonny Perdue and Nathan Deal by purchasing Israel bonds. I'm going to take an economic development trade mission to Israel in my first term. I'm going to continue to fight and spread the message that Israel has the right to exist as a state, and we will not invest in companies that support BDS. And in closing, I think it's important that you should know that Stacey Abrams also voted against a bill that was against supporting BDS. And it's important for people, especially in the Jewish community that traditionally are Democratic voters. This is not your traditional Democratic candidate for governor. This is someone that's hanging out with Linda Sarsour and is being funded by people like by George Soros. So we need to work hard. every single day between now and November 6th. That is exactly what I'm going to do. It's exactly what Amy Porter's going to do, and it's exactly what Marty and the girls are going to do. It's exactly what this whole ticket's going to do and their families. And we're just asking you all to join us in the fight. We're not asking you to do anything that we won't be doing. I'm honored to be here. God bless you, and thanks for having me.